one of the important topics, transport administration. Before that, we have the small monitoring related transaction codes, performance related transaction codes are there, which are very helpful if any system performance issue, slowness or troubleshooting point of view. So these transaction codes are very so so very helpful here, right? So so in the transaction codes, the first one will come as a ST01. This is the tracing related transaction code here. System trace, we can do that one. ST01 here. System trace. So you can log into the system, right? So here we can check the tracing. So you can check the trace, system trace. In case of existing logs are not enough in ST22, SM21, you are unable to find out the exact issue. Then in this case, we can go to the ST01 transaction code here. In the ST01, we can enable the system trace here. So which trace you want to enable? Is it authorization trace, kernel, general kernel, DB access, table buffer, RFC, HTTP? So what the trace which calls we have to enable it? We can enable all those traces. We can enable it here, right? So that we can enable the trace, so that we can ask our functional or development team who are facing the issues in the system, so they can reproduce the issue. They will get the error message. Now backend, the traces are recording now. Now backend, the logs are collecting now. Then once they have done reproduce the issue, once they got the error, just click on the trace off, then do the analysis here. Do the analysis of the system here. Do the analysis of the system. Then there will be a logs will be displayed here. In case of the traces exist here, so there will be a logs will be displayed here. Logs will be displayed in case of any error. The logs will be displayed here. So since here we don't have any, even if I remove the date and time also, so no logs will be recorded. Why? Because only few minutes only. So we have enabled. So no records corresponding to search criteria found means no logs found basically here, right? For this user. So if I remove user also, if I keep the star and click on the search also, it's a similar thing here. Similar thing here. So no main thing here, right? That is the traces, authorization check, kernel, DB access, table. So these all are the function calls here, trace calls, function calls here. If you on it, if you off it, then do the trace analysis, then we will come to know the more logs and about these things here. Suppose example, one of the user is facing the authorization issue. You are not sure, nowhere it is recording. Then in the case, just enable the authorization trace on, right? Enable the authorization trace on. Now we can ask that user to reproduce the issue. We can ask user to reproduce the issue here. Then user will do the reproduce of the issue, and the etc. The user will do the reproduce of the issue. Then what will happen once the user is reproducing the issue? Then we can just switch off the issue. Reproduce the issue means whatever the error he is facing, then he will face the issue. But backend the logs are recording, right? Then he can do the analysis. We can do the analysis here. All those things we can do the analysis here. If any error is found, we will get the analysis here. That is the system trace. In case of if someone asks you, where can we take the system traces? ST01 is the transaction code. We can take the system trace here, right? Only as and when required, which means so only based upon the request, we will check it out here, right? ST02 is the transaction code tune summary. Tune summary means buffers. Here we can check the buffers. So buffers size, utilization, swap, and memory areas. So all those things, buffers, swap, memory areas. So all those things we can see it in the ST02 here. This is the very important transaction code with respect to the performance related. This transaction code is the very important here. And so with the this is the one of the important transaction code here. Here, the buffers are like a temporary storage area. So normally SAP is the three-tier architecture. This is the presentation layer. This is the SAP layer. This is the database layer, right? So here, what exactly happens here when you are pulling the from here GUI to SAP, then SAP to database, right? So here, when you requested from the GUI something you requested here, immediately everything it won't go to database level here. In SAP level, we have the some containers are there, storage container, that is called the buffers are there here. Buffers are like a temporary storage area here, buffers. So what exactly happens here? Whenever you do something from SAP login pad, it will check in the buffers whether it in which buffer this is exists. It will check in the buffers. Then it will pull the data from the database level. Then it will give the response back to the user. It will give the response back to the user here. That's what it's happened in the systems here, right? So that is the tune summary. That is what it will happen in the systems here. So whenever you search, it will go to the buffers. In the buffers, it will check if data is there, then it will give the response back to the user. Sometimes we are getting some slow response because of the data which you are requesting, it is not exist in the buffer. Then it will go to the database level. It will pull the data. Then again, it will fill the buffer and it will give the response back to the user. Which means when you are requesting the buffer, when you are hitting the buffer, buffers are so filling with the, so when you are hitting the buffer, that is called the hit ratio. So as per the SAP, so out of, so 99%, so 99%, it ratio should be the 99 plus above. Why? Because out of 100 requests, one request should go to the database, 199 requests should be to get the data from the SAP buffers here. Why? Because if your request is getting the data from the buffer, your response time is improved. But if you're getting the request from the database level, then there is a delay. Why? Because here to here, you should go to the database level, it will pull the data from the data, then it will give the response back to the user, right? It will give the response back to the user here. That's why these related buffers related, what is the swap, what is the memory utilization, so hit ratio. So if we go to the here we can check the hit ratio, buffers, each and everything. Like we have the multiple buffers are there in SAP. Name tab buffer, table buffer, field buffer, initial record buffer, program buffer, CUA buffer, screen, calendar. These all are the all programs will store here. CUA. So like screens, all screens, calendar related, tables, exports, imports, all those things will be in the buffers. Here hit ratio. So the program buffer is a 98.41 only, which means 98. So remaining 2% of requests are going to the database level to pull the data. Why? Because since we built the system newly, so little bit delay here. So CL buffer is C here. This is the 88% only here. But this is the, so free space is very less. Free space is very less here. Here you can see the hit ratio and allocated KB, how much space is allocated for these buffers. What is the free here, right? And what is the free percentage here? Here very less percentage, free percentage, right? So here we are getting the swaps. Swaps are getting here. So when we will get the swaps means when the buffers are running out of the free space like this, then you will get the overflow. When the bucket is filled with waters, then what about the new water which is coming to the bucket? It will be overflow, right? So same as like this, the data will be overflow in the system. So that overflows related things we can find out in the swaps here. Here we can check in the swaps here. So swaps here we can check it out. Also we can check the memory areas here. Extended memory, mainly heap memory here. Here we can see only extended memory. So I will separately explain what is this memory areas and everything here, right? So here the main thing is like here. Yeah, main thing is like the buffers, swaps, hit ratio, all those things we have to check in the systems, right? Here we can check the history as well here, right? So yesterday, how many swaps we got it here. Today, how many swaps we got it here. Allah records, we can see it here, right? That is the main thing here. And what is the current parameter? Suppose like, see, the free KB is like a 272. Free KB is like a 272 here. So then if you want to increase, right? this is the default size of the buffer. Suppose like if you want to increase, then there is a corresponding parameter here. Suppose you want to increase the 2004 KB. If you want to increase the buffers, then you can just to change this parameter value in RG10, then the value will be increased here. The currently this is the only 2000. Just you can change the values to the 4000, then 4000 KB, then the value will be increased here, right? So that is the, these are the parameters for the buffers here, all the buffers. So sometimes we may have to increase this buffer size as well here, right? So why? Because see, swaps are occurring here. So space is very less. Then we can increase it here. But as per the SAP, per day, 10,000 records are allowed. 10,000 per day, 10,000 swaps are allowed. If you are getting the more than 10,000, then we may have to increase the space. We may have to increase the value of this buffer parameter and everything. We have to do that one, right? We have to do that one here. This is the tune summary here. It's a tune summary here, which we can do it here, right? Tune summary, right? So the next one, so ST02, that is the ST02 here, right? Suppose example, if you see how buffers will improve, right? Suppose if you use the any other transaction codes, let's take here one of the, so if already used transaction code, you will get the immediate response. You will get the already using the response, you will get the immediate response here. Here we can see the response time here, 750 milliseconds here, right? You will get the immediate response here. So if you are using the new transaction code, that time it will take time. Why? Because so it will go on the database level. When the second time when you use it, it will be very fast. It will be very fast here second time here, right? So that is the reason. So suppose example, if you see here, ST02 here, right? So this is the first time I am using ST02 transaction code T. How much time is taken here? It's like 4,000 milliseconds here, right? 4,000 milliseconds here, two buffers are filled here, right? Suppose if we use the same transaction code in the second time here, it will be improved, right? See, we got the response now immediately. So why means, so 270 milliseconds only. 4,000 to 270 to 97 decreased. So which means the response time. Why? Because first time when you are accessing this transaction code, it will be slow. Suppose example, so MyGo. This is one of the sales related, so material related, outbound related, goods movement related transaction code. See how much time it is taking. See how it is buffering, which means it is checking the data in the back end. Okay. So let's see how much time it takes. So it's going to the database level, it is pulling, then it will display the screen here. See, still it see, we have not executed any SJ. That is the reason it's slow. But let's see the second time when you access the transaction code, it will be improved. So it is just still it is fetching. Still it is compiling all the programs and everything. Why? Because this is one of the materials related transaction code here. So it will take very longer time to compile and get the data here. So that's why it's taking, see, lot of time it is taking here. Here, see how much time we are getting. Because of backend, the data is not exist in the buffer, right? Data is not exist in the buffer. Then it is going to the DB level. It is pulling the data. So request is going to the DB level means it may take very longer time. It may take very longer time here. See, this compiling. Now we got the response. How much time? So my God, 1 lakh time. Is it? Yeah, 1 lakh milliseconds here. More than 1 lakh milliseconds here. My go transaction code here. Right? So it's a purchase order, billings related, goods related transaction code here. So we got it here, right? So now what we can do here, again, I will use that one more transaction code. I will use it here, which got the very response time here. Now again, I will use the MyGo transaction code here. Let's see how much time it takes. See, you got the immediate response. You have 1 lakh milliseconds and is only so 1000 milliseconds. You got the response time. Where is 1 lakh? Where is 1000 milliseconds? Why? Why this got improved? Because so the data which you are frequently accessing, which is stored into the buffers, those are called the buffers here. Same as like here, the VL02, the sales related. This is also very longer transaction code here. This is also will take lot of time here, right? This is also will take the lot of time here. Yeah, we got it. So 38,000 here. Let's go to back here and again use the same transaction code. We got immediate response, which means, which means, so what will happen now while doing the second time here, the data already in buffers, right? So first time, if it is not in the buffer, then what it will do, it will go to the database level, it will go to the database level, it will pull the data, then while data is got, then while coming to the buffer, it will fill it with the buffers, then it will give the response back to the GUI level. It will give the response back to the GUI. This what will happen in the systems, right? That is what here it will happen in the systems here. That is called the buffers and bit ratio. So in case of some users, they will complain like when we are using the some of the transaction code sales related, the purchase order related, that will be slow because because of the buffer that time immediately you need to go to the ST02, you need to check the buffers, how the buffers are, what is the buffers utilizations, CPU. So normally when the system starts the first time, so buffers will be when the system starts first time, that is common error, that is the common buffers will buffers, all the buffer system when the system is restarted first time when you are accessing the transaction code, that will be slow. Why? Because each and every restart, the buffers data will be flushed out. So some buffers data flushed out here. Because of that reason, so you may see the, so as soon as when the system is restarted, when you are accessing the transaction code, that will be slow for some time because of this one. Okay. The next one is called the ST03 or ST03N transaction code here, which is like a workload analysis. So this is the one of the important transaction code. This is also one of the important transaction code here. So when you go to the ST03N transaction code here, so ST03 or ST02N, so this is a workload related system workload. I think there is no workload system. So that's the reason. We need to reschedule the standard background jobs. We need to release the standard jobs. As I said to you guys, please release the standard jobs, right? So you have not released, I think. That is the reason there is no workload here. If you go to the SM36 here, so there is a standard jobs here, which is responsible for collect the jobs, right? So that is the reason I asked you guys to please do the some of the configuration, log on group configurations, SMLG, RZ12. I asked you guys, but no one. That's fine. So I released the standard jobs here, right? Standard jobs. So this job, SAP Collector for Performance Monitor, this job is responsible for This job is responsible for, so to feed the data, to give the data to the ST0, ST03N here, right? That job, when the job is running here in SM37, the load will be, the history load will be displayed here. The load will be displayed here, right? So this job, someone did the wrong client copy yesterday. 000 to 000. When I asked them to create a new client, even though people are making the mistakes. See, I just executed the performance monitor related to jobs here. Okay. So when that job completes, then you will get the response data here. You will get the new workload data exists here. Here you will get the data. So daily, monthly, so weekly. So the last 10 minutes, last 15 minutes, the data we will get from here. The data we will get from here. Daily, weekly, monthly, hourly. So which transaction code? So who executed and at what time, what hour. So all those things you will get the response times here, right? The response times in the system, you will get it out here. That is the ST03N. But currently, the jobs should be running here. It should be, it should complete. Then we have to wait for some time. So then those will be, see, it's completed. 54, 54. So this will execute now. This all the jobs will execute now in the systems with 55. Once this all completes, then we can say, you can see the history here. If we wait for some time, these jobs will complete now here. See here, there is a delay. A delay means, so background work process are not free, I guess. That's the reason there is a delay. The background work process are there, but it's not picking the jobs. So as per the timelines, it should pick up the data, right? As per the timelines, it is pick up the data. So something is happened. So this fire job should run, but it's not running now. So because, so that's the reason delay. You can see the delay here. Yes, it's completed. Immediately it's completed. All right. Immediately it's completed. Now we go to the ST03 and still load not displayed here. Still the load is not displayed. Okay, let's park this transaction code while we get the data. Next one is called the ST04. ST04 here. Next transaction code is called the ST04. ST04. So this is the DB performance related transaction code here. DB, so performance tree code, DB performance checking and everything here. We have the ST05. This is the system performance trace. Above one is the ST01, ST05 are the tracing related transaction codes here. So this is the, so performance trace. We can take the ST05 is the performance trace here. ST04 is the DB performance and ST05 is the performance trace transaction code here, performance trace here in the performance trace. So here, if you just go to the ST05, so here we can take the performance trace. So here we can activate the trace. Which trace? Performance, like RFC trace, HTTP trace, which trace you want to activate, we can activate it here. Then we can just click on the display data. Then we can see the traces here. Traces means, so SQL, which means which SQL statement took the very longer time. So why it's taking that talk time, which table it's referring, all the information will be displayed here. So total, while pressing on and off button, we see how many records are fetched here. 68 records are fetched. how much duration, like in that which statement is took the very longer time here. So all the information you can see, this is the taking. So this is the table name. This is a select statement. So this is taking a very longer time here. This is also longer time here, right? So this is the also longer time here. So these all are SQL statements. See how much what is the SQL statement is taking longer time here. So this and all that taking time here. Suppose example, what we can do here, okay? So I can say I can enable the tracing here for all the traces. I can enable it. I will open the one more session here. Okay. Now trace is on backend here. Now I will go to the one of the transaction code is called the RSA1. Okay. So this will take the some time here. Right. This is taking the some time here. Right. So this will take the some time. Okay. This will take the some time here. Okay, that is fine. Now, if we go back here and deactivate the trace here, then display the trace here, then open, then you will see, so how much, what is the duration, how much duration it's taken from starting of the trace, when in between whatever you done, it's taken the this month. So in between what you have done means whatever you are selecting, right, in the front end, in the SAP side, you are clicking the some other RS7 transaction code from S button, no button, create button, something you are clicking, right? Each and every button after that, how fast you are getting the response, that is the main thing here, right? So here, if you see here, so all the duration, what is the duration here? So what is the duration of the second here, right? So all the information, how much time it's taken for the name, so table, like all the information, this is the table, this is the table name, repo load, how much time is taken, in which node, which table, what is the statement, all the information will be displayed here. So this is very helpful for troubleshooting perspective. To troubleshoot the issues, this is very important. These log files are very important here to troubleshoot the issues here, right? That is the main thing here to troubleshoot the issues. This is the important thing here. Okay, this is a important thing here, ST05 here. So ST04 is the DB performance monitor, right? So how the database performance here, right? So all the information will be displayed here. All the information will be displayed here. So total size of the disk space and memory. So current memory, physical memory, so then all the information will be displayed here. All the information will be displayed here. What is the database name here? What is the operating system here? What is the hardware? So current activity here. So then alerts, are there any critical alerts in the system here? So all the information will be displayed here. All the information will be displayed in the systems. This is the DB. When the DB started timelines here yesterday, at the same 8:29 DB startup timelines here, the time of analysis today. So 7 o'clock analysis. What is the SQL? How many CPUs you have here? Connections here. So all the information, see, all the information is populated here. See, total size, MB, disk space, free space, all the details we got it here. All the details we are getting here. So this is the DB performance. Normally, if you use the ST04 or ST04, instead of that, if you can use the DBA cockpit, DBA cockpit transaction code here. DBA cockpit is for the DB related, DB related everything, DB related information, everything we can check in the DBA cockpit transaction code here. DBA cockpit transaction code, we can check it out here. So just you can see here, DBA cockpit here. So same screen will be opened here. See, same screen we got it here. Performance system landscape. So same screen we got it here. Then if you go to the DB01, this is for the exclusive for the database logs here. So same, right? Same we got it here. So when you go to the DB02. If you go to the individual, so these all are the DB related. If you go to the DB01 or if you go to the ST04, DB01 database logs, DB02 space, right? So then DB13 DBA planning calendar, DB12 database logs here. So all those things we can see it here, right? These all are the database related. Instead of directly you can use the DBA cockpit. So that will be better. One transaction code, all the DB related things are on the one screen here. Normally this is for the database monitor. DB01 is the database logs, SAP level logs. Where can we check? SAP logs, LOCK log. What is the transaction code?
SM12.
SM12. What about the logs? LOGS. Where can we check the logs? Log, LOG, log. SM21. SM21 is the transaction code to check the system logs, right? So that is the one. DB02, space, history, and everything. DB planning calendar, everything here. If you want to take the backups or anything, you can run, you can schedule it from the planning calendar. This is the checking the backups are successful or not. We can check it out here. Instead of that, if you use the DBA cockpit, this all you can see it in the DBA cockpit related transaction code here. So here we can see the space, backup configuration, alerts, all those things we can see it here. Here, the system configuration, we can see the system overview, configuration, server database here, all the information we can see here, database connections here. So, and the DB connection monitor, how many connections are active in the system, connection name and everything, you can see it here, right? So, database calendar here. To schedule something, we have the calendar, right? So, and also if we go to the performance here, we can see the performance related to a transaction code here, overview of the performance hardware. So then SQL statement, DB IO performance. So then the logs, database logs, any logs are there in the database level, data logs that we can see it here. The database memory related things, we can see it here. Only checking purpose, we can see it here, right? This will, we can see it here. Then we have the history of the DB collector history, backing, performance. So space is the one of the important thing which always we need to check the space here. Total size, allocated space, P space, how much is there? So total 40% is free. That is fine, right? So that we can check it out here, right? Suppose if you want to check the single table analysis, we can put the single table name, it will give the response here. If you want to check the largest tables in your SAP system, it will give you the largest table is the repo load here, right? If you see the fast growing tables here, then it will provide the fast growing tables as well here, right? So history also we can find out database size history. So for last days, week, hours, how much data we got the database level. So all the information, expert functions here, the backup and recovery, backup data, so restore, so backup logs, configuration, job logs, alerts, any critical alerts in the database level here. So any error messages that we can monitor from here. So space, okay, everything is green except system startup parameters are wrong. Something like yellow. Startup timeline, core limited version could be in use. Okay. So diagnosis, audit logs, so SQL server logs. So log files, these all are the database related things here. Database related things, you can check it out here. Database related, all those things you can check it out here in the, so DBA cockpit. DBA cockpit is the transaction code to check the database related things here. Database related things here. Anything database related, space or memory or table history, alerts, logs, everything we can check in the DBA cockpit. Or you can also use the individual transaction code DB01. Same. So DB02, space history and everything here. Right? Space, memory, all those things we can see it here. right? So then DB0, DB13, 12. So all those things are space related things and everything here. Okay. Those are the space related things and all those things you can see it here. So the fast growing history, analysis, backups, all those things you can see. The next one is like the DB related things are gone. So the next one is like a ST06. This is the operating system call here, right? ST05 DBA cockpit, then operating system related. Operating system related means OS. In OS level, what we can see? CPU, memory, disk, LAN, file systems, all those things here. So here you can see the what is your operating system timestamp, what is the your hardware manufacturer, Microsoft Corporation. So this is the one. So it's Hyper-V. So what is the base server here, host informations here. So then you can have all the details here. You have the what is the CPU utilization, system utilization, idle time is 99% here. Memory utilization, physical memory, RAM memory. So means which means you no need to go to the OS level. Here SAP level itself, you can find out your CPUs, how many CPUs are there, how their response time, how they are fasting here. Here we have the so 18 CPUs are there. In the 18 CPU cores, here what is the response time of the each and everything. So you will get the all the information time here, all the information here, right? So you will get the all the information and etc here, right? That is the main thing of the CPU utilization, disk, memory, top process here. So previous hours, not only just live, so previous hours also you can find out here. Previous hour utilization also we can find out here. 16th, 17th. So what is the each hourly we can find out the what utilizations, memory, memory utilizations you can find out the so percentage of memory. So all those things we can see it here. So here disk utilizations, LAN utilizations here. So then history of the CPU, history of the CPU here. And memory, we can find out the memory, CPU utilization, LAN, hardware. So all the information we can find out here. All the information we can find out here. Last week CPU, memory. So all the information we can see in the systems here. Okay. So that is the main thing of the ST06 operating system level. LAN. LAN means LAN cable. So what is the LAN in, LAN out, any errors and packets lost, all the information you can see it here. All the information you can see it here, right? So that is the main thing here. Okay, that is the main thing here. So text to text version, central performance stream, yeah, host operating systems. ST06 here. ST06 is like a operating system level. Next one is like a ST07. Just is not the important, but ST07 is like a application monitor user distribution here. So in how many users are there? 6. In that, how many work process? 13. In that, so in that, how many users are there? So currently active users 3. In that active users, they are using the basis components, functional components. Which users are using the more here? We go to the basis, what they are using here. So number of logged sessions, these all are here, right? Total 3 users are active here, but 2 users are not active. But even though they have opened the above runtime workbench and CTMS they have opened, and some of the security related things they have opened here. Someone they have opened the ST22 runtime environment dump they have opened. So here you can get the some information about the all the things here, right? That is the main thing of the so system here, right? So that is the performance related all the transaction codes here, ST07 up to ST07 here, right? Up to ST07, you can see the performance related. Okay. So these all are the performance related transaction code for today.